What's good, guys? Welcome to the very first episode of Fourth Wall. I'm Bernard.
My name is Bernard. I am a multidisciplinary artist specializing in modeling and styling.
I'm Jada.
I'm Jada. I'm a fashion designer, stylist, and I do a bit of photography and videography as well.
I'm Phoebe.
My name is Phoebe. I am a designer and owner of Boarded Plus 61.
I'm Elseway.
I'm Elseway, and I do a bit of modeling and anything creative that I can get into.
In today's episode, we're going to be creating a brand from scratch, taking you guys through the whole journey from the beginning of the process to the campaigns and photo shoots.
All right, let's go, guys. Yes, sir. Wait.
Before we get started, we need to work out what exactly it is we need to do to start a brand.
Okay, what do we need to start a brand?
So obviously, I think brand name and logo is what people think of first. But I think maybe we'll think about that later on.
Yeah, for sure, because I feel like that comes later once we have somewhat established our brand identity and who we're trying to sell to. Are we trying to be high fashion, streetwear, or...
The overall look and feel, the kind of maybe a concept we want to go off.
Well, I think what will make it a bit easy to kind of deciding what we create is just putting together mood boards and references and just looking around at what other brands are doing or what people are wearing and collating a couple of images, maybe videos even.
All right, so basically what we need to get the brand identity down. So we need our market, our concept, mood boarding, the overall look, and then the name and logo will kind of come with that. And I think we should all split apart and take on tasks now. So what does everyone want to do?
I feel like me and you could do the designing and then the handmaking side.
With you.
Yeah, and I feel like because I come from like a modeling and photography background and the artsy side of things, I could help with the campaigning and styling and that type of stuff.
And then Lorenzo, marketing.
Maybe find any connections we can find a way to promote it. If we're trying to find ideas and we're trying to make flyers, put it around. So we all linked to the cafe and now we all know what we're doing and now it's time to get started.
I'm gonna sketch up some ideas for the logos and then link up with Jada to look at some fabric.
Whilst Phoebe's working on the design process, we've decided to come down to the fabric store to get some inspiration. So I don't usually visit fabric stores unless I have a particular fabric in mind. I'm generally in thrift stores trying to source secondhand fabrics because sustainability is really important to us. That's why Phoebe and I are really interested in sewing and making our own clothes.
Obviously, you don't need to know how to sew to start a brand, but we find it super helpful being able to sew up physical pieces and look at them.
Even if you're just designing basic graphic tees and hoodies, it's good to know how to sew so you can perfect a silhouette and send it off to your manufacturer as a prototype.
Me and Jada started learning how to sew just out of necessity because we thought eventually we'd get a manufacturer to do it all, but then we started really liking the process, so we do both.
So we can sew a prototype, send it to our manufacturer, or let them handle it, or we can do it all ourselves. So now that we've been to the fabric store, we've got a bit more inspiration and a solid idea of direction. Phoebe's gonna get back to the design process and we should be good to go.
So while the girls are out handling the design side of things, I'm just kind of collating images and inspo and kind of putting together collages to kind of figure out how we want the brand to look and how we're gonna lead into the photography aspect of things.
I'm just currently looking for photo inspiration for the garments that we want to make and just kind of seeing what we could put together in terms of aesthetic, style, and just the way we're gonna shoot it, because it helps to have a lot of different options, a lot of different inspirations and just kind of things to pull from. So what I like to do is just kind of go through Instagram, Pinterest, and just kind of look at a few things that I like and see what could work with the piece and the whole just aesthetic of the campaign.
All right, so all the brands that we've come across so far and the ideas that we've seen are obviously being produced by big brands, big labels. They've got big budgets, and we're all about kind of working with what you have. So just utilize the people and the team that you have around you, and you should be fine.
So after shopping for inspiration with Jada, we've got a pretty good idea of what we want to create for our very first piece. We want our pieces to be unique, versatile, and gender fluid. To me, there's no right way or step-by-step guide into designing garments as everyone works differently. However, if you want more unique designs, you could start with a primary resource. It could be anything from a leaf, spoon, buildings, whatever. From there, you can get little inspirations from its forms, shapes, and textures. Gather your secondary resources, which is basically just visual inspirations from actual garments. Then you can start designing crazy silhouettes and designs from those ideas and narrow it to more wearable pieces. You can often see this on runways where the pieces are crazy and have you thinking, why? And how is this even practical? Usually it's to showcase the designer's first concept of their collection or what inspired them. This is why they'll have their separate ready-to-wear collection, which is more toned down, more wearable, and designed with the everyday consumer in mind. Miss Jada, the creator, so I just sent you a few designs. Let me know what you think, and then we can start pattern making, sewing. Yeah.
Sounds good. I'll have a look at them and I'll get back to you ASAP so we can get started on it.
Okay.
Yay!
Bye.
So while the guys are working on the brand, I'm gonna meet up with two of my friends and get some advice because they have the experience and they've been running the brand for quite some time. And we're just gonna go from there and see what we can learn today. Come with me.
My name's Millie.
And my name's Harry.
And we're the owners of Purgatory.
Yo, so me and the guys are thinking about starting a brand and you guys have been doing it for a while. Can you give us some advice on how you guys started off?
I think we kind of started the brand as a hobby, something we did on the side.
It was, we both like fashion and we both like design, and it made like sense as like a hobby to start off the brand that way.
As our style evolved as well, like the brand became...
Yeah, like as we matured, like the brand became more mature.
Brand, really.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a strategy at the start. We just kind of went to local manufacturers and made small quantities, and then we didn't really have a plan. We just drop when we want to. We like sent it to the manufacturers, and whenever like it came, we would just drop it. There's like no plan.
I feel like we literally get it like a week after we like drop it, after we received it.
What would you say it's some pros or cons of, you know, having your own brand for anyone who's thinking about like starting off?
I wouldn't recommend starting a brand if you don't
want to put the time and energy into it. For us, it's like a constant like thing that we're always thinking about. Yeah. But that's also like the benefit of it. Like the benefit of, although it's 24/7, it's like we enjoy what we're doing, we want to do it.
So how did you guys spread awareness and advertise your brand?
I think the most difficult thing about when people start their own brand or even a business is like, how is the awareness going to be spread about their product aside from just like friends and family, you know? When we started, what do? We just like did heaps of photo shoots.
I feel like with the photo shoots that we originally did, like we'd make, to some extent, like we'd make product specifically for the photo shoots as a way of like getting it out there with like having like lots of models wearing our stuff, those models taking the clothing, that clothing then like circulating around different circles.
I think it started off like local and then local in Melbourne, and then it kind of spread across Australia, just like
I think it's very organically. Yeah. It's not necessarily one big campaign or one big move to like get like thousands of people. It's like, yeah.
There's no strategy or plan that I think is the best, you know, because everything works, things work differently for different people, and different people like start brands for different reasons and they have different strengths. Like I feel like our strength is more in the visual curation and the creative direction of the brand instead of, you know, really hard marketing. Like nowadays, because it's such a low barrier to entry of clothing brands, so many people have started clothing brands and so many clothing brands pop up like every single day. Like on TikTok, you always see those. They just follow like a formula. Like someone has made a TikTok that has been like, you need to like build a community around your brand, otherwise no one's gonna buy it. And then they'll all say, or like follow our community.
But if the community is not held together by like an actual like,
it's not held together.
It has to, if it doesn't have substance, that brand's not going to have longevity. The community that is built by brands that have actual product and things that have more value than just the community are the ones that are going to have longevity. The like, you know, like the brands that are built on a community that isn't based around some kind of substance or some kind of you know, one factor, is it's gonna probably like not last as long.
So if you had your time again, would you do anything differently?
If we were to start again, I think there's so many things that, like so many issues that we could have avoided if we had a bit more planning and foresight. But in saying that, if we did just sit around planning everything and just like, you know, like thinking of brainstorming all the things that, like worrying about all the issues that could happen, like nothing would ever happen, you know, like I think everything we've learned through, you know, trial and error.
But that's often why people don't actually start what they want to do, because like they have the fear of actually doing it, and the only way you're going to learn is to make the mistakes that you make to eventually be the person that you are. So like the knowledge that we have now, like through actually making those wrong like decisions, is the only reason like why we can make the right decisions now.
So what's the best advice could you guys give to someone who wants to start a brand?
If you do want to start a brand and you do have that passion and you do have that drive to start it, you do just have to start it. You just have to do it, because like a lot of people are held back by their fear of how people will perceive them, the social aspect of it. I mean, it is like difficult to start a brand or start anything, you know, doing anything.
Yourself out there.
Yeah, because you're like doing something that you weren't once known for, and then or like people didn't perceive you as a brand owner, and that's who you're trying to carve your way into the world of being, or whatever it might be. You know, it's the same with being a musician, the same with being an artist, whatever it might be.
For me, like I didn't always exactly used to be comfortable in front of the camera. And I'm like, man, people are gonna see this photo like this, and I have to wear a certain brand like this, and get out of my comfort zone. Especially online, you know, you don't know what people are gonna perceive you. People perceive you might differently, and they'll have some negative responses. Even though the brand is doing really good, there's always going to be some, you know, internet, you know.
Like even if you do release something and the initial release or whatever you're doing, if it's a brand, for example, what you're putting out could literally be like really ugly. And you know, like that's not to say that you can't become better, and that's also not to say that you shouldn't stop trying. The other downfall a lot of people have, and a lot of businesses come across, is like, you know, the 1, 2, 3 year mark, they end up quitting and they end up stopping what they're doing because
that's all the backlash they're getting.
Not just that, but because of like it takes a lot of compounding time and effort for you to see your results. You're not going to see them probably in the first year, the second year, the third year. You're gonna like have to continue to work and build on your brand until you're seeing that reward. You're not going to see it straight away. So like you always got to keep that in the back of your mind, because a lot of people stop because they don't see the reward when the reward's not going to come to you straight away.
So we just wrapped up things with Purgatory, and I'm gonna run it back with the team and just keep things pushing.
We got sketches and templates for the garments, and now we gotta go fabric shopping for real.
Hey guys, so now that me and Jada have finalized the design, I'm just here to get the fabric. This looks good.
We started in Rathdown Street in Carlton, hence the name Rathdown Fabrics, but now we reside in Victoria Street, Brunswick. We've been here for about 15 years. My grandfather started this business by taking surplus cuttings off the manufacturer's tables, and they repurposed that into mattresses, into pillows, which is what they did in the 50s and 60s. So my grandfather passed away and my father took over the business, and then he started buying surplus fabric stocks. So dead fabric that was at the end of the seasons for the fashion designers here in Melbourne, he would buy all that surplus fabric and bring it back into the shop and also wholesale it. We were the first ones to recycle. You can call it sustainable, recycle, repurpose, whatever, but we were doing that well before anyone else.
I wasn't expecting to meet the brand owner, and it was nice to know that they're all about sustainability just like us.
So I got the fabric. Now we're gonna go to Jada's house to sew the garments. Yay! Hey. Yeah.
These two pants, because like don't want my head. Yeah. So that could be like
So Phoebe just brought over the fabrics to my crib. Welcome to my crib. We're currently cutting out the patterns, and we are gonna get them all, assemble them, and then sew them all together. We're currently working on the hoodie.
So whilst Jada's getting started on the hoodie, I'm gonna get started on the bottoms.
Oh, I just like flip them, cut them. So once the pieces are done, we're gonna link the boys and we're gonna do campaign photos, and then we're pretty much good to go.
Let's go look at this thing. So Phoebe and I got the designs done, we linked up with the boys and we made a road trip out of this, so we're on location now, it's pretty wild, and we're about to shoot some stuff.
Alright, so right now we're currently at the shoot location, as y'all can see, and we're just kind of collecting the final shots, final results. We're just kind of playing around with the scenery because we got too many options, so we'll be stupid not to utilize all of them. But for now, we're just kind of playing around with this rock formation and then see how we go. Alright, we've just wrapped up. Location did us wonders, got some phenomenal photos. Now it's a matter of just kind of looking over them and finalizing everything. So we'll catch you at the studio. See you there. Alright guys, so we are back in the studio, as you guys can see, and we've somewhat kind of concluded our journey. But before we fully conclude, we'd like to share some stuff with you guys.
So at the beginning, when we were at the cafe, we were thinking of just making a fictional brand, ground up, but we decided why not just make something for 4-4 since it's the first episode.
We ended up making something we really love and we're really proud of the outcome. We knew from the start that this isn't the standard way to make a brand.
But we wanted to offer an alternative and show that there's more than one way of doing things.
Most people start off on their own, but you should always be open to collaborating and work with others. But what do you think?
Nah, I agree with that. I reckon you should always be open to collaborating and working with others and just kind of having an open mind, because you never know who you will meet and just kind of go to run into, because a lot of you guys at home watching might think that we all are familiar with each other, but nah, we just kind of went to meet each other due to just a familiar interest in fashion. So if anything, go out there and see who you meet, because it could open up so many doors.
Obviously, we're new to this and we don't have all the answers. We've made a few mistakes along the way, but if I were to do this again, what I'd do differently is I'd probably design a small collection of garments that kind of cohesively tell a story instead of designing just one look. What about everyone else?
Yeah, I feel like I would have taken more time during the design process to choose the right fabrics. The ones we made right now would probably be a sample, and I would fix everything that was not perfect in this one to the next.
Yeah, I think touching on Phoebe's point, I think time would have definitely been a big factor, because me being in charge of the kind of the photo shoot and just kind of those little details, I would have loved more time to kind of put into research and really get the brand image more into compact before shooting.
No, so picking up where Brunei just said with the information part and the whole interview process, 100%, I feel like if I did a bit of research, I definitely could have added more things and, just pick up more knowledge and, just go from there.
We hope you enjoyed the journey and we hope you like the clothes that we made, and hopefully there's some useful information in there for someone who wants to start a brand.
Alright, so that concludes the first episode, and best believe there's going to be more, so stick around.
Last thing, we're actually going to give away the outfit we made, so make sure you subscribe and check in the description of how to win the outfit.
All right, guys, it's been a pleasure with y'all. It's Fourth Wall, and we out. Boom.